My name is Ross. I'm 23 years old and I have no friends. In the year 2000, I was born. In 2002, my parents split up and I had to live with mum and meet my stepdad. In 2003, my mum and my stepdad thought it was a good idea to move to a different house. And this house was located in the middle of nowhere, away from communities, and it was surrounded by supermarkets and big businesses. And it didn't feel like home, but I didn't realize this until I was a lot older. Then in 2004, I got introduced to primary school, and as I was underage, I had to be the most lowest class. And in this lowest class, there isn't many people to actually talk to. There was only just about 3 people. But the teachers were somehow supportive with me, and it didn't feel like education to me. It just felt like more of a, like, just sort of like a playful experience, let's say. Like you're not doing paperwork or you're learning or anything. It's just, sensory stuff. Then in 2004, my mum and my stepdad got me a leopard gecko, just because as I don't live with anyone else other than those two, they thought, won't get bored at home because we have a lizard, right? But this lizard likes to be in his cage. There was times where I did one day take it out and its tail fell off and I freaked out. But he was a really good lizard. He really was. And then in 2005, I got put into a higher class, so I graded up. I got a bit older and I met with an actual class with more people in it. And we were quite talkative. We were quite talkative children back then. We used to get involved with lots of activities like dancing or playing sports or learning how to draw, or we talk about animals or TV shows. And in 2006, my parents adopted a blue British Shorthair called Sage. He was a kitten, and Sage meant everything to me. It was like I would never get bored with this cat in my house. Like, I remember Sage would sleep on my bed. We would watch movies and such. But then about a few months later, Sage got roadkilled. And it was really emotional just to see, just something that happened all of a sudden. And then that's when things kind of took off to another situation. But it wasn't a situation I completely understand what was wrong with this house because I was quite young. So it turns out our house is not suitable for cats being independent. Because there is a very busy road and it's really impossible to cross over. And we had to accept that if we wanted to introduce more pets to the family, they must be house pets. And then later in 2007, my mum adopted 2 cats called Merlin and Henry. And Merlin was the same as Sage, blue British Shorthair. And Henry was a lilac tabby. And they were like fun. They were like good partners in crime. They were, I know they were like different, but they were like brothers to each other. And they were 2 lovely cats. They really are. And during that year in 2007, I was involved with many birthday parties. I used to talk a lot to my classmates. They would talk a lot to me. We were always hanging around the playground. And it was just perfect. It was just like I have loads of things to do at home, and then I've got loads of things to do while I'm at school, and I have something to always look forward to every day. In 2008, it was just the same as 2007. In 2009, I got a little bit older, and oh, dog's barking. Yeah, so another cat introduced to our family, but it was a stray cat, and this story is quite interesting. So in 2009, a strange cat that just appeared in my dad's backyard, because I visit my dad every weekend ever since my parents split up. They allowed me to just visit my dad through the weekends, but at the time, a stray cat appeared in our backyard, and she just won't go away. She just won't go away. She will just keep waiting at the porch. Maybe just want to say hi or just want some food. And we put some food down and such, and she would just eat it and then just still not go away. And she will just keep waiting at the porch from the outside for a few hours when you don't even know she was there, because she was so small that you wouldn't go outside to see this corner that she was actually hiding in. And then we took her to the vet because we thought she could be lost, and it turns out she was a stray. Then we decided to actually adopt her. We have 3 cats in the family. Adopt her to my stepdad's house, where I currently was living, and we call her Felix because she was black and white. And she was a interesting cat to me compared to the other ones. Is she's very shy with everyone, but she never is shy or ran away from me. So she'll run away from everyone, but she won't run away from me. In 2011, and around the beginning of 2011, I started to get a bit more mature. In 2010, I did visit a few birthday parties, and I even got invited by some birthday parties just by simply just small talking to them, and they thought I was cool or a good person, so they invited me to their parties and everything, and it was just a lot of fun, socializing the playground, all that such. In 2011, it slowly drifted away a little bit because I was slowly going to be transferred to high school because I was going to be turned age 11. But around April 2011, I lost Henry due to another roadkill because he was originally meant to be a house cat. But my stepdad thought he was a bit too sporty, so they let him go once a week, and then it started to become more frequently to the point where we just never seen him again. And that was very sad. We just lost 2 cats that we had in our family due to roadkill. Then during my last few months in primary school, it was just I didn't go to I didn't get any sort of like party invites or anything. I didn't really talk much in the playground much. I think it's probably because everyone's moved on a little bit, but I did have a classmate I always hanged around with every day. But I still talk to the people through through the years but not as much as before. Then, roughly around September 2011, I couldn't really go transfer to the same schools with all my friends went to because the council said I was too smart. I should prefer that I should go to an actual school. So I was like, okay, if you think there's a better opportunity for me, then I can go for it. So I had to tell my classmates that I'm going to be moving to a different school. They're probably not going to see me again, but I want them to let them know that I won't forget them. I love them very much. Then, and then I said, hopefully we will see each other again, because I still had contacts with the people that I was in class with. And then in September 2011, I got moved to my new school for the first time. It was really exciting. It was a boarding school, by the way. It was a private boarding school, so it was more different to the one I went to, because it's not just people around my town; it's people across the UK studying this school. So I thought it was pretty interesting to meet a diverse, different amount of people from different backgrounds. So everything went great. Everyone was greeting me and saying hello to me, because I was quite liked because of how new I was. But then suddenly it just falls apart months later. I think it's likely because there's just students that are jealous of me, and then they try to make false accusations or drama, schools have to deal with, but I don't let that bother me. But then to the point where people actually didn't admire anything I do, like I felt like I was a complete outcast, I thought it was a good idea to transfer to a different school. There was a lot of things that happened, and it would be better for my own health and for my future is just to move to a different school, because it was really getting out of hand. So in January 2014, I moved to another school, and this time this is a school that I actually met all my friends I grew up in primary school, and it was really exciting. Everyone greeted me and such, but not everyone seemed to be really surprised by it. There was some people that would kind of see me as a traitor just because I went to a school that they heard and then they don't like. But I made it clear to them that I didn't make the decision to go to the boarding school. It was dependent on my parents, but also the council as well. And I was the one who only is going to say yes or no. But either way, people still treated me with respect, and I did get invited to a birthday party, which is really exciting. Because I've never socialized since I graduated, since I left primary school at age 11, and now I'm finally be able to socialize at age 14. Like 2.5 years of not talking to anybody, or just feeling like you're non-existent from society. And I had a birthday party, which was football related, and it was a lot of fun. I had no idea how to play football. I understand you kick the ball and such, but I don't watch football, and I have no interest in football whatsoever. But the sport was fun, and it was like a sunny day. All the people from the school, we all play sports together, we work as a team, and then, good teamwork, good sportsmanship. It was a really good birthday party. But then in October 2014, I hanged around with a group of people from the school. We walked around the town, we got a takeaway, we walked around the views, we hanged around the park. This was about up to 5 people, including myself. And it was a really fun experience. It was run by one person, and then we all decided, we all meet together. It was like an invite for many people. But that was the last time I hanged out with a group of people today. The last time I hanged around with a group of people was since October 2014. And then what happened was, a month later, the person who organised the meeting up and everything got expelled and had to be moved to different towns. And the rest of the people that were also invited were not interested of the other people who were also invited. They were only caring about this person because of how popular they were. If this person didn't exist in this meetup, then no one would have shown up. So it seemed like no one actually cared for each other. They only cared for that one person. So that's when it didn't happen ever again. However, I didn't lose my hope in everything else because I know that we can get this back. So I was still able to talk with classmates and such at school. And then I got myself into a football team. And I thought this was a really good change because I get to hang out with the lads. I can learn how to do tips and tricks of how to use, kick the ball or how to use the goalie or anything like that. And then eventually, one of the students considered me as someone who was not part of the group because I wasn't really a talkative person, because everyone else was very talkative, they're engaged for and such, but I'm the one who's mostly quiet. And the reason being is because they talk a lot about football and I don't watch football, I don't play games, I don't have football shoes or that either. So I don't really have much to talk about. Even if they talk about football celebrities and such, I would still have no idea. I didn't have a team that I admired, like, I don't know, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. I didn't have any choice. So they kind of consider me as an outcast. But I didn't let that stop me. I still wanted to take part of the team. But then eventually one of the top students who are very good at football thought it was a good idea to just not, tell their friends to not pay attention to me because I'm not worth their time. I'm someone who's trying to fit in when I'm not, when I don't easily fit in. Because I'm not into football, I don't understand a lot, so they thought it was a good idea to just reject me. Then one day, I discovered some people that I grew up in school with just ended up just betraying me. In a way of like, when they hear like a story because one person says something, they have no proof. It just felt like the world was kind of betraying me. I developed like really bad anxiety, especially when in 2012, the first time I really had an anxiety attack was in Tesco's when I was about 11 and a half. My dad wanted to order something from the counter, but then I suddenly collapsed on the floor when I completely had no idea. I had cold sweats and everything. And that recreation happened around early 2015. I felt like the world was just on me again. It was the whole same situation that happened. Then I had my cats cuddle me on that day, and I actually felt relieved. Don't underestimate pets. Pets can understand your emotions, they can see through you. But even if I was having a bad time at school, I would still come in and do my studying and such from 9 to 3 o'clock. But even though if nobody wants to talk to me or anything, it's completely fine with me because I'm just going to go to school just to study and make my parents proud. Then eventually I met with someone from my old school, from the boarding school in spring 2015. She was very liked at the boarding school, and we actually decided to hang around in our town. And she was really fun. She was a very bubbly person. She was awesome. You wouldn't even ask for a better person. Of course, she had some issues with herself, but that's not a problem at all. We've all got our own issues. Then we started hanging out almost every day for like 2 times a week. It was really fun. Like, I really wanted a friend, and she was the perfect definition for it. we both did meet some different people, whether it's from our town college and such. We even met some weird people. We met some weird people. We had some people who were like extreme introverts, just like me. I identify as an introvert. Um, there was different diverse of people, but you couldn't really make a full like friendship with them. And I was just like to her, where did you meet these people? Where did you find them? But she met them at the college. Then eventually around September, in September 2015, we slowly stopped hanging out because she was doing her college courses. And I understand why. College is more, doing your courses is more important than hanging around me. So I just let you do your thing at the college. And then in December 2015 was the last time we hanged around with each other. I went to her house. It was roughly New Year's Eve. I think it was the day after, the day before New Year's Eve was. And we had a lot of fun. We showed funny videos on our phones and such, and all the memes and everything. And that was the last time we stopped talking to each other. And how it all happened was she was really busy with college and everything else. She claimed she was a lot busier in January 2016. And we were like, okay, fair enough. But if you're really busy, remember that I'm always here. You can always text me and everything else. And some reason, eventually, a few months go by. I usually text her once every 3 weeks. I don't want to bother her too much. I usually just say, hi, how you doing? How's your grades and everything? And some reason she's not responding to me. But you could still see the tick on the side of the message that she has seen the message, but she's not responding. So I was thought maybe she had poor internet, she couldn't send a text message, or maybe she doesn't have time. Then eventually she'll just completely ignore me. But I was still on her Facebook friend list. Then roughly around the middle of 2016, I congratulated her with her because she passed her driving course. And I was like, oh, congratulations. But what I noticed is that when I commented on her post, everyone got a thumbs up from her or get a thank you response from her. But for me, I didn't get any of it. And then I eventually was really curious what's going on. I was just like to her, if there's a problem with me, I'm more happy to just be open. If you have a problem with me or anything, just please be open with me. And she says, well, we departed our way, so this is goodbye. And it's just, I've never agreed saying goodbye. I let you go because I knew that you were busy with your course, and that was more important than us hanging around most around the week. And she was just like, we departed our ways. But the real truth was, at the college, when we first hang out, she didn't really have any friends in her life. But then when she went to college, she made a load of different friends. And she thought it was really pointless hanging around with someone like me who is just all by himself all the time, because I've always been lonely. And it really hurt me. And then I met up with someone else at a boarding school I went to, and he was about a little bit older than me. He was actually a really good person, but then he's not very that trustworthy, because he kind of breaks promises. Like, for instance, I actually had to cancel my holiday and my day at the zoo with Mum just to visit him at the beach. So I planned to have a meet-up with him about 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the pier, because I just cancelled a holiday and I haven't seen him in ages. Then I turn up, he's not here, so I arraigned him. And he said to me, "Oh, I completely forgot. I'm currently uh, in this music class. I can't come to you right now." And it's just like, we've been playing this for a week. Couldn't you, like, how could you forget about all of this? And then we did it one more time. I was thought maybe that was just his one off. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he was really busy and couldn't even keep up with his schedule. So we did it one more time, but this time it took the cost of not hanging around with mum, not going out with mum to the zoo for a day. So we decided to meet at the similar location, and again, he didn't show up. I sent him a call again, and he said that he didn't have enough money to buy a bus ticket. Excuse me? Don't you have a job? And bus tickets are £2. And they weren't even far from where he lived. He was about 25 minutes, but I don't want to visit his house. Like, and it just felt like everyone's just turning away from me. And I always felt like it was probably a me issue. I've made mistakes and such. I don't know. I probably made myself awkward, and these people are behaving this way towards me. Then the rest of my years, I felt like I was in a coma, because as I was living in the middle of nowhere, I kept my distance from everyone. It just felt like everyone that I was turning to just seemed to be walking away from me or moved on, and then I just get thrown back to the same situation as I was. It just felt like, it doesn't matter how much hard I contribute into being a good friend or socializing and such, nobody still wants to hang out with me. Like, if I go to a bar or a gym or anything, nobody wants to hang out with me. I may have some people to talk to, but they're mostly just people want to do their own thing. So in the rest of 2017 and to 2021, I've mostly been stuck indoors. So but regarding to education, I have been going outside. I did go to, I went to the sixth form, the school, between September 2016 to June 2018. And during my time in sixth form, I had no chance of hanging around with anyone. Nobody was interested in me. I spent my whole 2 years staying in class, just going on my phone or just doing some doodling on a piece of paper. I didn't even go out. Nobody wanted to sit next to me in lunch. And whenever someone did want to approach me at lunch, they would just ask me to borrow the chair next to me, leaving me just completely isolated from everyone. And even on the school bus, nobody wanted to sit next to me. And whenever someone did want to sit next to me, they would either start to mess around because they know who I am, so they think they can get away with it. But I always built self-defense with everything that was being going on, and I thought, and I was developing a lot of anxiety, trust issues, hallucinations. Then, yeah, and I spent 2 years just never hanging around. I'm not even hanging around one person for 10 seconds. Like, for 2 years, 24 months in sixth form at the school, at the same school I had problems with. I've never had my socializing and everything. No one was even interested in me. I've did everything I can. I've did complete an art course at the school and everything else. But I still made no friends. Even people in my work, I thought there could be some sort of like little bit of growth or bit of development that's going to happen, but it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen for some reason, and I'm thinking it's my fault. Then after when I left sixth form, I moved to college. I really wanted to do college because I thought it was going to be a real step up for me. So I was there for 3 years. I was started there in September 2018 to August 2021. So my first year, I actually got put into a class full of people who it's just more like assessing people, like their strengths and weaknesses, and want to be able to go to the mainstream college, because I didn't really had proper qualifications, because the schools I went to didn't have the fully like the ones that is quite the that is like legit. Um, they were very nice people, but the people in my class, they it's quite interesting at the college. The assessing department, they sort of categorize people. So if this person's really anxious, they get put in a class with anxious people. Or if this person's being expelled from 5 schools, they get sent to a class full of people who also got expelled by many schools. So I liked how they put things in categories, and that was really good, because I was able to, because as my class was full of people who develop anxiety, critical, well, really like bad anxiety, depression, insomnia, self-harm. I had this in my class. You had some people that just don't even say a word for the whole year. They just only nod. But I had about 2 or 3 people in my class I was able to talk to. They were shy, but I completely understand. But also the workers I had were really supportive, because they always had my back when something is wrong. They will always be behind my back, and they were really supportive people. Then, as I was doing really well with spending my whole year of the assessment, I then got transferred to the mainstream part of the college. So I was in the assessing department, and then I got transferred to the art and design department, which is what I wanted. And it was really exciting, but I had really bad social anxiety, because there was people in the room that was able to talk to people very easily, and I just really just kept stuttering too much. I like when there was one chap that was just saying hi to me, and I struggled to even say hi to him, and it's probably because he's got a social life and I don't, and I get jealous easily, and I just struggled to say hi. And I was just like, come on, Ross, just say hi to him. And it's just like my mind's telling me, but I'm just frozen in place. Like I was freezing quite a lot. And during that time art and design, I didn't really talk much to people. And of course, during art and design, I was in work experience. Work experience was really great. The only issue was that as I was a volunteer, they put me in a lot of work compared to the people that actually work there. I could do everything else in the workplace except working at the counter, because it involves social interaction. So I could do things like um, delivery, unboxing packages, storing things on shelves and such. But then I eventually had to stop, because I just wasn't enjoying myself there. But so my last message, I stuttered a lot, and I said, well, thanks everyone. I enjoyed my time here, and it will be a great time. I have departure because I have got courses to do. It was really awkward, but I just wasn't enjoying myself there. It was an experience. Don't get me wrong, it was an experience, but it wasn't. It wasn't great, really. So, anyways, back into art and design. This happened in 2019. Same with work experience and art and design course. Um, so my emotions went up and down. So there's times where I was able to be talkative, and there's people that, and I'm not talkative with. When I line up, I don't surround myself with people. I'm usually like right over in the distance, and while all these people are just like all here, and I'm just like right over there. That's just you know, your mind's just filled with so much that you just can't even can't figure it out. I'm probably talking too much about all over the place. It's a really complicated subject. Uh, then we had the COVID pandemic, which was March 2020, was the first announcement of the pandemic. And my courses got cancelled, and most of the people that I had in my class, I technically didn't see them ever again. Now, the COVID pandemic didn't bring a lot of bad effect to me. The only parts that affected me was that I had to redo the course over again. I was concerned how long this was going to last up to. And then the third one was worrying about my dad catching COVID, or what was it like for me to catch COVID. So he had stuff going on, but I wouldn't say 2020 was like the terrible year of my life. I've actually tried to build up some life progress during those years. So we had to just go through Zoom and everything, Zoom meetings and such. And I was the one who would just only text in chat. I don't use the microphone. Like when everyone else has got their webcam on, I refuse to turn on my webcam and the microphone, and I would just type instead. It was really awkward to do the course online, but you couldn't do everything online because it's easy to cheat courses and everything. So most of it is just basic information. So around 2020, as I was still housebound, like I've pretty much been housebound most of my life, there was a moment where I saw there was a community group that was advertised on Facebook that I was really interested in. I was a bit nervous, but we have to remember we need to do this right. If you want to make friends or get into that socializing, you really need to try. So I was like, Ross, okay, this is your opportunity. You should try and get yourself signed up through the phone. And basically, it was a LGBT group on the Isle of in my town, and I brought my expectations up too high. Then the woman who was in charge of the event was really nice. She understood everything going on, anxiety, not understanding yourself and everything. We had Zoom meetings. So I was excited to have my Zoom meetings. I had about 3 or 5 of them. The first one was actually interesting. We met with some interesting people, but then as time goes by, it just didn't feel really exciting anymore because I brought my expectations up really high. And one of my expectations was expecting people to be in my age group. So around that time, I was 20 years old, but most of the people in the Zoom meeting were about 14 years old. And what was really awkward was they were really happy and very talkative, and then you have me, who's a lot older, who's just hiding hiding underneath a rock. So I was just like, and they were talking about like TV shows and everything, like Coronation Street or the new Netflix series or something, and these shows that we're referring to, I have like no interest whatsoever. And most of the Zoom meetings are talking about shows that I completely have no interest of watching whatsoever. But then eventually I didn't really show up in my Zoom meeting, so I thought, well, if this didn't work out, then at least I've now know that just don't bring your expectations up really high. So in 2021, I got myself back into college because it was acceptable to go to college, but you need to wear a mask and social distance, hand sanitize, etc. And the course was great. I completed the course. there was people in my class that were a little bit underage. Well, I mean, they were a little bit younger than me, but I was still had social anxiety, so I didn't really talk to many other people. I was more like someone who just wants to focus on my work and get things done, especially of what happens in 2020. But the staff were quite supportive, and they've always talked to me while I do my work, and it breaks the ice. It breaks the ice. They were really nice people. They even helped me, whenever I need help with things, they would actually help for me. They were really good acquaintances. But then I felt like, so around August 2021, I wanted to start. I thought there was going to be an animation course, because originally one of the reasons why I wanted to join art and design was not only just to learn art, but I also want to gain some reputation if I want to do a animation course. So like doing 3D animation, like using Blender or 2D stuff, programs and everything. Turns out the college didn't had those classes. They did PowerPoints instead, which was very misleading. So I completed my art and design course. I could choose for a level 3, but I was kind of happy with level 2. To be fair, I kind of just wasn't satisfied with college anymore. So I kind of left. So after when I completed my course and everything, and when summer gone by and the summer holidays came by, that's when I left. Then I pretty much spent the year being stuck in a house in the middle of nowhere with no communities, a bunch of supermarkets, 15 megabytes per second download speed and upload speed internet. Like, sometimes I don't know if I'm making the right choice or not. So beginning of September 2021 to November 2022, I was pretty much just being housebounded. It's always been computer, bed, computer, bed, computer, bed, computer, bed. What was even more hard about living in the house was the internet was so terrible that you could not play any games online. So there was a load of games I really wanted to play through the years, but I can't because I have terrible internet. And when I do, I get kicked out for inactivity or something like that. Terrible experience. So I ended up only playing games which were single player and don't require internet, which was really bummer. It's like I can't even talk to my friends online, and I can't talk to people in real life because I live in the middle of nowhere, no neighborhood, absolutely nothing. And I also have the internet where it's not letting me talk to people. And it's just like the house was fully like, I don't understand with this house. I'm not talking about this house, the one I just moved out over a year ago. It's had so much limitations, and I never realized why my life was so held back was because of this house. This house stopped me from opening to many opportunities that happened anywhere around the world, or anywhere if I ever bothered to travel. So I mostly spent most of my life just computer, bed, computer, bed, computer, bed, every single day, every month, every week, every month, every year. And I hardly had any birthday parties as well. The last time I ever had a birthday party was when I was about 10 years old. Now I'm 23. But we do have sort of like birthday celebrations with with my family a little bit. It's only just about 3 or 4 people, but it's not like I'm going to the pub inviting 15 people. I grew up for all my years and such. So I considered self-employed at the time. I tried to go on, create businesses online, like using Shopify or Etsy, or using YouTube in a different account, not the Strawman one, a different account. finds my different income, and it has worked out. It has worked out really great, and I'm very thankful for it. But then, even if I got my finance situation solved, I still have this common problem that hasn't been solved yet. I need a social life. I need to do something with my life other than just staying indoors and playing games or anything else. I really need to do something. I did talk to people on Discord as well. They were supportive people, but they were in the United States, Arizona, Australia, and it's not the same thing compared to real life. Like, I have a load of fun on the computer. I have my work on there. It's my jobs, my income, it's my fun, and I talk to people on there. However, when I turn off the computer, I'm like, oh, I'm back here again. I'm back to my lonely world where all I have left is my bed. And occasionally I would just go food shopping, and that's it. When I turn off that computer, my other world is gone. So in early 2022, I was like, okay, Ross, I understand you're going through some really problems in your life, but you can do it. You just need to try and trick your brain, because I just believe myself, I can do it, but I just need to practice and practice, and then I can actually be able to defeat my weaknesses. So I used to have, obviously, if you can see behind me, this is an actual claw machine. And from the channel, yes, I post a lot of claw machine videos. I used to be obsessed by winning loads of toys from amusement parks and arcades. And I thought it was a good idea this year to sell all of my toys and such. I kept some behind, but I mostly sold all of them because it's really problematic, because one of the reasons that was holding me back was I had so many like toys with me that I didn't want, and if I ever made any friends, I would be very embarrassed if they came to my house and they saw a crap load of toys which a 22-year-old would have, and it's just, I had to sell it, and it was really worth it. I made a few £100 out of it. It felt really great when I was giving this away, because not only it felt me really great, but it also made the customer really happy as well, and it boosted my reputation on eBay, which is fantastic. So it's always like a win-win situation. Not only that you feel better, but also you're making other people feel better, which is what I like. I always like to help people and bring a smile to their faces. Something happened around November 2022. November 22 was the month where I was able to move to my dad, so I could actually start living a normal life. And any problems that come to my mind, I can just write it down as a list. And then what I see on my list, I then try to figure out, right, so this is a problem to me. How can I solve this? And some of these problems can even be solved in like 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour. But I'll be waiting years, 8 years, 10 years, 5 years for something that could be dealt in 20 minutes. And I felt so stupid in myself. How could you just keep this worrying in your mind that could be solved in 20 minutes? It just... So on November 15th, 2022 is when I actually moved here to my dad's, and ever since I moved here, I've never felt so much better as a person. I actually feel like I'm human. I feel like I'm part of the community. I feel like I'm part on Earth. I don't feel like an outcast compared to the house I went to, when it was just completely in the middle of nowhere, crap internet, there's no neighbors, nothing. It wasn't designed to be a house, and that house is actually being sold, and it's being turned into a children's intensive care for special needs children. So it wasn't suitable to be a house for our next family coming. It's actually going to be turned into a business. It's going to be turned into a care. So imagine my bedroom being turned into some sort of classroom, or my old living room gets turned into some sort of reception. Anyways, so something happened around November 22, other than the moving part situation. My cat Merlin passed away all of a sudden. So he was born in the 24th of June 2007, and then he passed away on the 4th of November 2023. He was a pedigree blue British short hair, and he was one of the reasons that we ever had him, so that I won't get bored. But it's been 15 years and 4 months later since he was a baby, and now to a very old cat. I was just like, okay, Ross, you remember there's people and pets that are not always going to support you all the way. So you really need to do something to change in your life. Don't just wait and expect miracles to happen. You need to make that miracles happen. I need to make action to make miracles happen. And it really taught me a lesson that important cat in your life, that, you know, for all your journeys and everything, has just now passed away. And that's when I realized that I really need to step up, and that's what I did. And all I got is one cat left, and she's next door behind this wall, and she's 14 and a half. She's the same cat I said that she's a stray. We got her in 2009 in the backyard, and I'm actually worrying at least every day when she's going to pass away, because if she passes away, then I technically don't have anything left. So while I was staying here, I've never had this happiness or this full expression about myself, my identity, my qualities, my passions, for half of my life, because it all started when I was in high school, where things started to become really dark and depressing. And even though right now I am really happy, I'm really happy right now, I couldn't be happier, but I still don't have any friends. I even talk to people that I used to grow up in school, but they're purposely not interested talking to me, or they will say, oh, I can't, I even ask, could we just meet at a coffee cafe for about 30 minutes or something, and then you can continue what you're doing, at least something small like that. And they won't even show up, or they will be like, oh, I can't come because I've got stuff to do. And it's just they're not being specific, and then they just be like, oh, one day someone actually said, I can't come and meet you because I need money to buy a bus ticket. But at the time when this person said it to me, bus tickets were free. You can just hop on, come to my location, and then we could have some tea or coffee and maybe a toasty. And it's just, people just don't show up. And it's just like, well, I kind of expected people to just really move on. So from the purpose of this video, when I decided to put my phone down and actually record this, I thought it was a good idea to change my t-shirt to this. This is an old Primark t-shirt. This is what I wore when I was 15. It still fits me perfectly. I haven't really been growing much. The reason why I wore this t-shirt for this video was this t-shirt was the last time I hanged around with people about 7-8 years ago. This was the same t-shirt from the last person I hanged around with. And I always keep this with me in my wardrobe because it brings me lots of memories. And I would throw away all my old clothes, but not this one, because it has a meaning. I've tried dating apps throughout the years. From the past, I think 14 months, I've actually got 6 dating apps on my phone. I got Tinder, got Bumble, you got Hinge, and then you got the small ones like Timey and all the other ones, and I've had no progress whatsoever. If I actually, I was about to meet up with someone who is in this in the north, and we've been talking for about a week or so. Yeah, about 2 weeks. Then, because we used to play, because I completed Cyberpunk, he said completed Cyberpunk, we talked quite a lot through WhatsApp and such. And I thought he was a really good person. He was a maths teacher, 28 years old, and he was 6'9". Then we decided to visit his location. In the south, because I was still on the mainland home with Mum, but I was like, Mum, I feel like I want to go on the train and go to this town because that's where he is. I had Mum behind me just in case if there was any suspicion, and in fact, during my arrival, suspicion occurred where I spent £35 to arrive at his town just to be blocked on all of his socials. So he told me I can meet up when he finishes work about 5 o'clock at this location. So I was like, okay then, when we meet, we can stop by at a bar, get a drink or something. Then when we arrived at the scene, we stayed in the train for 2 hours. I spent £35 train tickets. Because we were from Brighton, we had to travel all the way to Southampton. Then he didn't show up, but I thought maybe, I don't know, he's probably not on time because he's probably on his way in his car, right? But then when I looked on my phone, he blocked me. He blocked me all on my socials, but I still have his phone number. So I'm doing everything I can to at least make friends. And then you just get these sort of like plot twists happening. Sometimes I keep wishing every day that this situation can just end. Like, I wish I don't need to think about friends anymore. If I can at least have 1 or 2 good friends, I'll be really happy. I wouldn't even ask for anything. If I have 1 or 2 supportive good friends, maybe 3, I will be really happy. I would be really happy. I wouldn't ask for anything else. I wouldn't ask for any more friends. But somehow it's mission impossible for me. And sometimes I feel like it's my fault for being too socially awkward, or it could be their fault because that's just the people where they are, but you can't really like justify what really happened and what caused for this to happen. But we understand that, we're all human. We all built differently. We all come from different backgrounds. We have different personalities. So not everyone can really fit in like a jigsaw puzzle. And again, you just sort of have this repeated cycle in your life where you start off being alone and then you come back being alone. So you start off alone, being at school, education, work. You made loads of good friends and such. But then eventually when you leave work or school for some reason, it could be a change of path, which, you know, life change and such. You're back to being the same person before they even applied to studying or working somewhere. And that really wounds me. Like, it really... this is reality, but we can try and like turn it around, because we don't expect everyone in the world to have like long-term relationships or long-term friendships. It doesn't happen all the time, but at least someone keep turning up in your life and make you feel like you're worth to somebody. Because waking up every day with broken sleeping patterns, going to the computer, spending 12 hours a day on the computer, and then going to bed is not the lifestyle I ever dreamt of. The purpose of this video is to really help. There is people in my town, random people in my town, that have really gone through really dark times when they've only been through loneliness for a very short time. And I want to remind people across the world, because this is going to be published on YouTube, that you are not alone. I had to deal with this for like 3/4 of my life, and it's not pleasant, but you have to remember to be strong. It will come, and it will, you will have to wait. You have to be patient, depending how long the situation will last up to. You need to be patient, and while you're being patient, you really need to try and do something. Miracles don't happen in thin air. You really need to step in and make it happen. Just don't bring your expectations up too high. Just keep things nice and steady, and you will get somewhere. Just dream about your passions, whether just stick to your plans, because friends aren't always everything. Stick to what you enjoy, stick to your hobbies and your interests, whatever gets you, whatever takes you out from reality, because life is short and we have better things to do other than worrying little things. But then we don't realise, when we're worrying about little things, we don't realise how much time has gone by recently, because you're like so stuck in the past, and everyone else is just way ahead of themselves in their life. They've probably got a house, they're probably married, and you right now are just still stuck in your bed like you've ever done since you're about 6 years old, and now you're like, you're halfway, almost turning to your 30s. So I just want to help people that they're not alone. I wish I want to do something for the world that could like get involved with charities regarding to loneliness, isolation, social anxiety. I really want to get myself into helping the world. I really want to just at least help people, because loneliness is really hard. It's really hard to adapt. Because life is just full of roller coasters. And I think that's all I've got to say. I've been talking for like over an hour, because this is a subject that I really want to talk about, but I don't want to, because it's embarrassing for people to hear, because nobody likes to be online and be like, oh, I have no friends. Look at me. I have no friends. Nobody likes that. And this is going to be on YouTube. But as for me, I learned to adapt and I just don't care. I really want to do this for my own good. I'm just coming out of the closet telling everyone that I don't have any friends and it's okay. It's okay to have no friends. Remember to love yourself and we will get through this. And I think that's it. That's it. I think that's everything I got to say. I think I've talked about everything else. I probably might have missed one or two things, but we can go through that another day. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. And hopefully this video can be somewhat helpful. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be helpful. But in the end, I need to get the truth out.